Have you ever had an after hours phone call that you knew was going to change everything? Sometimes bad news comes to us suddenly and catches us off guard. What's the best way to handle that? Greetings, Paul Deeds here. And I'm talking about bad news. I'm not talking about the Packers losing a game or getting a nasty gram in the mail. I'm talking about personal, emotional bad news. We've all been there. I have some thoughts on that. Thought I might like to talk about what I think are the four emotional stages that we go through when we get bad news. I'm talking about speculation, acceptance, adjustment, and memory. Let's talk about those. I wish I could skip right over speculation because I really don't like speculation at all. I think it's bad juju. I'm not saying I don't do it. I certainly do, like everybody else. I think it's part of human nature to speculate about things. You know, the what ifs and the what thens and the things that you don't know how they're going to happen or what's going to come next. I mean, you have to speculate a certain amount just so you can kind of prepare yourself for what might come. You know, you have to think about the what ifs a little bit. Trick is to not speculate too much. It's hard not to speculate, but it can be dangerous. I mean, even the most positive among us find ourselves in a dark place sometimes speculating. I don't know why it's human nature to think the worst sometimes. And sometimes it's a challenge not to dwell there. And speculation is a little bit like worrying. It's akin to worrying. And you know what they say about worrying and what's true about worrying. That, what do they say? 80%, 90% of the things we worry about never come to be. When I catch myself speculating, I try and remind myself of that. And eventually we get to a place where we heave a big sigh and let it out and accept the fact that things are different now. And say, okay, this is how it is. What now? What's the next step? How does this affect me from here on out? And what can I do about it? It's the part where you kind of take back control. You're past the shock of it and you start taking control of the situation and figuring out what to do. You know, finding the best lawyer or the best doctor or the best financial planner, whatever the bad news was, finding the experts to help you through it. And I've always found that when I find myself a little confused, if I write things down, that's helpful to me to organize my thoughts. Write things down that need to be done, and then prioritize them and try and get them done in order. And it gives some order to what can feel like a chaotic situation. It helps me to write them down. And at some point, once we get our facts organized a little bit and the circumstances organized a little bit in our mind and down on paper, if that's what you do, and accepting that things are different now than they were. You know, that was then, this is now. We've all been there. You get on with it. You know, life goes on. It goes on differently, to be sure, but it does go on. And sometimes carrying on can give us feelings of guilt, of being disloyal, maybe. The fact that we're able to carry on. The survivor guilt, if you will. Survivor guilt, that phenomenon doesn't apply just when death is involved. You know, being able to carry on past the trauma, whatever the bad news was, being able to carry on past that. Sometimes it gives you a little feeling of guilt. Doesn't feel comfortable to be able to carry on, but we have to. And sometimes if you're able to express those feelings to somebody that's close to you, you find out that they're feeling the same thing. And sometimes sharing a burden is helpful, not just to yourself, but maybe to someone else too. There's no shame in expressing honest feelings to somebody that you're close to. And once you get past the bad news and get on the other side of it, you know, there's always the memory. The memory lingers. Those memories tend to fade over a period of time usually. but they'll be back. You know, they show up when they're least expected, when they're least desired sometimes, but they come back from time to time. And the fact that they come back less frequently can give you a little feeling of guilt too. Like, again, like I say, like you haven't suffered enough. I've mentioned before that I was raised Catholic, so you know I'm no stranger to guilt. I was taught that early on. It's almost like a first language. But seriously, if you don't feel guilt, that's a good thing because you shouldn't. And sometimes bad news creates a before and after situation. Life before the event and life after the event. And if that's the case, you know, when that anniversary, if it's a particular date, and when that anniversary comes up and that memory comes back, consider celebrating the fact that you made it through it rather than mourning the fact that it happened. I said in one of my early videos, maybe might, as a matter of fact, I think it's in my Welcome to the Channel video, I said that I don't want to forget anything. I want to keep all my memories, even the bad ones, the good ones, the bad ones, because everything that happened, the good and the bad, brought you to where you are right now. And in my personal case, I'm fine with where I am right now. So I don't want to change anything from the past. I don't want to forget anything from the past, even the bad memories, because we did get through them. And when a memory of a, a bad event comes back to you, it's not easy to feel celebration for having gotten through it. I understand that. It's easier said than done, but it's worth considering. Now, when bad news comes, and it surely will to all of us, it might be better to have some kind of a plan in place for dealing with it. Anything you can do now before the bad news comes, anything you can plan for, will be a benefit to you when it does come. No, you can't plan for everything, but if you can talk about the difficult things when you can do so lightly, that would be a good thing. Don't wait until you have to deal with them in a difficult time. Go lightly when you have the choice, because there may come a time when you don't have the choice. So communicate with those that you're close to. Stay in touch with the people that are a little more distant. So thanks for being here. Whether you're stopping in for the first time or whether you're coming back, I appreciate you being here. As always, like, subscribe, share, and by all means comment. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the subject of bad news and how to deal with it. Maybe you have some tips that I could use. I'd appreciate hearing them. We all get bad news from time to time, and anything we can share to deal with them will be helpful. Peace and joy, my friends, and I hope all your news today is good news.